Okay guys, welcome back to Bearded Lumber. Matthew and I appreciate you tuning in today. We got some great news on this stack of wood and what it represents. So let's get through the introduction and we'll talk about it. Okay, welcome back guys. Sorry it took so long. We had a couple log deliveries in the meantime. Maybe we'll take a picture of our log yard. It is a mess right now. But let's get back talking about this white pine. We saw this anywhere from a week to about 10 days ago. And this is going to be technically our first paying job for our motor planer from start to finish. We've sawed it. The kiln emptied out this morning and we're getting ready to put half of it in. And we're going to run it hopefully about 8 days, maybe 9 or 10, we'll see. And then we're going to put the second half in and we're going to run it. And when it comes out, we got a couple of issues we're working through on our motor planer, but we should be ready to run it. I've actually already run, I don't know, a dozen, 15 boards through it. It's functioning, but like I say, there's some little issues we're working through. I've got some knives ordered. The knives for this, I hadn't even ordered yet. I got to get them ordered. It's about 7 to 10 days to get these knives in because they wanted tongue and groove nickel gap. So not a big fan of it, but that's what they wanted, so that's what they're going to get. Anything else on this, Matthew? No. It's going to be kind of a continuation video. You know, we're starting today with drying it. We may do another video when we swap it out. May not, I don't know, we'll see. May just jump right into, we're running them on the motor planer, but I am overjoyed to say the least. I think Matthew is as well. It's been a long journey. For us, it's October the 18th, and we started in January when we went and picked up that motor planer. If you go back and look, there's a video where we stuck it in that building over there.
We're 8 days off of 10 months.
Yeah. According to Matthew, we're about 8 days off a 10-month process getting this up and running. And it's not from lack of effort. We've not worked on it every minute of every day, but we've constantly been pushing forward and get stuck waiting, pushing forward and get stuck waiting. There's a lot of lead time on a lot of this stuff, especially in electrical, the three-phase stuff. If you're going to do it in a hurry, that was Leroy, he's laying on camera. If you're going to do this three-phase stuff in a hurry, you need to plan way out in advance, you know. 6 months to a year. Try to know what you want, go ahead and get it ordered, because a lot of this stuff has a 3 to 6 month lead time on it. It's just the way life goes. So that's going to do it for starting this video, guys. We appreciate you going through the journey with us. The motor planer videos are not going to end, but hopefully the motor planer build series is ended here shortly, and it's just running it. So appreciate you watching, and we'll come back to you in a little bit. Okay guys, appreciate you hanging in there. What we got today is a huge nickel gap white pine order that we need to run on our Weining motor planer. We sawed this wood back 1st of October and dried it, and this is end of November, almost Thanksgiving. So it takes time to go through this process. Customer brought the wood, we sawed it up, dried it, now it's ready. It's been ready to process for probably a month, but we've been waiting on our knives. They were custom ordered, and I was a little slow about ordering them, but they're here. So we're gonna set it up and run it. Right now the machine is set up to run S4S. So we got to change the side heads. We don't have to change the top and the bottom because they're just flat cuts, but both side heads got to take the S4S cutters off, and we got to put our tongue and groove cutters on. Now let's look at the wood. This is a stack of white pine, almost 500 board feet. This stack is 10 foot long, but got 7 more just like it. So we got a bunch of it to do. It's all going to be 8-inch. If it don't make a good 8-inch board, they don't want it. So it's going to be easy in one sense that it's all one size. So I'm going to go here to the bench. I've already changed one set of cutters, and I'll let you see how we change the other set. Okay, guys. Goes without saying, you need a good clean workspace to work on. This head has been changed. It has the groove cutter for nickel gap. This head, I've already loosened the bolts. It still has the cutters and the backers for hardwood flooring. So we're going to take those out and switch them out for these. Now on these insert carbides, there's a Allen bolt in the back of the backer. There you go. That's what holds your backer in. There we go. There's your backer and your blade. And this is your, what they call a gib. Take the gib out. Turn it over. So that Allen screw sits in a little recessed pocket. I don't know how much holding it does. It does some, but it's more for centering your knife up or centering your backer up. It has to line up with that hole. These are precision ground, not only in the face and the depth, but the elevation. And all that helps you when you set up the machine. So I'm gonna put these back in the box. Got a section here for them. There we go. Nothing wrong with those. They will get run again when we need to do more hardwood flooring. Open up our backers. And this is your actual insert carbide. Nice dull. That's what happens when you use it like a scraper. Now, these knives had to be custom ordered because I ordered them two-sided. They keep a set in stock that's nickel gap on one side and I think V-groove on the other, or maybe even hardwood flooring on the other. But I wanted a dedicated set of knives. You can see they're equal in dimensions, so they will make a nickel gap on the top and the bottom. I prefer that. If I have an issue with maybe the top of the board didn't clean up the way I wanted, we may be able to use the bottom of the board. So we'll take our insert. There's a little tongue here and there's a receiver groove. It'll just slide right in. Go ahead and grab my Allen screw and get that backer set where it belongs. I've learned the hard way already, these don't have to be super tight. They are hard to get out if you over tighten them. That's about all it needs. Now, we're going to take our insert carbide, and it has a receiver groove, and this backer, or gib, has a receiver groove. And they'll go together. It works better. Back the gib off a little bit. There we go. You can take it out. Put it in together. Can you see that where they lock together? And that just slides in your pocket. Back here there's a machine screw with a flat head, and you want to push it right up against it. That sets your depth for the gib as well as the knife. Gently lock them down. Now turn it over. We'll do the same thing. Insert our backer, machine screw. Yep. Like I say, it serves kind of a dual purpose. It locks that gib or locks that backer in, but it also locks it in place where it should be. We'll align our gib plate and our carbide insert, slide it in. You can see right here where it's misaligned. You just push it back to that stop and hold it, or you can lay it flat on the table, but I prefer to get my hands on it. Okay. Those are lightly snugged up. Now I'm gonna get it where I can hold it. Put just a little bit more on them. Using that German torque wrench. Good and tight. There we go. Now, knives are installed. Now I've got these marked. This is the inner head and this is the outer head. This one spins counterclockwise and this one spins clockwise. So you need this cutter head approaching the wood and you need this cutter head approaching the wood. Now we need the center line on this cutter. Now, yeah. Make sure I'm telling you right. On this one, we measure this face here because this face is your widest part of the knife. And the same thing here, we're going to measure this face because this is the widest point of your knife. And when you are measuring your board, like if you want an 8-inch board, you're going to have 8 inches between here and here. So we're going to change this number. There we go. Now, I got my dial indicator. Bring it up here. Get it back on. Yeah, inches. Zero it out. Come down. 0.749. It's 1/10,000th of being perfect, but that gives us the half diameter of this shaft, which is the half diameter of this hole or radius. And we're going to come down here. We'll measure our knife. .835. Yep. 2.835. So wipe off the old number. Got a silver Sharpie here since it's on black. 2.835. 2.835. Okay, that's numbers we need to do the initial setup on the machine. So let me turn this off. We're done with that for today. That's all there is to changing your knives and getting your radius numbers. Now I got to go over here to the machine and take both these corresponding cutters off and put these on and do a little math, and we'll be ready hopefully to run some boards. Okay guys, here's our machine. To be able to work on it, you got to have the power on so I can raise the beam. I'm gonna raise the beam head here, and that'll raise what they call the beam up so I can get in there and work. Now, it has an E-stop for a reason. Nothing works now. I don't want my hands in here and this thing able to turn on. So take the safety cover off. We got this wonderful tool here to take the nut loose. You got a locking nut, and then you got a keyed nut that goes on top of that shaft. And then these were the two spacers I was using to get the appropriate spacing. I'll do those insert carbines without gloves because the knife is real small and you can kind of gauge where your hands are. These are completely different. The knife goes from top to bottom and it can get you. Not to mention the fact that's about 15 pounds. It's heavy. But that's a 100 millimeter, 4-inch side cutter with just straight knives set up to do S4S. Now let me grab my other side cutter. Okay. Got my other side cutter and a box of spacers because we got to change all that spacing around. Now, I already said this one cuts counterclockwise, so it's going to sit in there just like so. And then we got to do our spacer pack. I know this from the other day. Had a big one, another big one. One of these. Maybe more. Oh, 10 millimeter one. The goal of these spacers is when you put this lock on here, you're above the threads for the lock nut, and that's just not quite enough. So I'm gonna add another spacer. There we go. Now, the other thing to these is they recommend when you put these spacers on, you put the smallest ones on the bottom. Basically just the reverse order of the way I stacked them up. Just like that. Put our lock on, and then our nut. Okay, now take the tool. The tool actually holds the nut, and you're turning the shaft. That's it. That one's tight. Now, I didn't have to change the height elevation because those knives are built, and the blade or the cutter is built to have a 10 millimeter back spacing. That's what this is, 10 millimeter. We put that on there, level across the bed, and brought the bottom of the spindle up until we had 10 millimeter gap. Now that I've installed that, it should be plus or minus 1/1000th where it needs to be because of the excellence in their machining process. So, let me get a 13 millimeter, take this cover off, and we got to do the same thing here. This is our outboard cutter. We'll take our lock. You can see the bottom of it, it's got two square sides. Goes on the nut. There we go. Pull the lock and the locking washer off. Our spacers. Notice the small ones on the bottom. And we'll grab this head. Can't get off. Okay, here's our outboard cutter. What I was talking about here, take that 10 millimeter spacer, lay it on there, and it's level across this table to that spacer. That gives you the down basically where this board needs to be, right there, without having to do all the math, because they got it built into the cutter and the cutter head. So drop that on there. Got a big spacer. That one. Let's try that one. No, that's too much. This one. Put my lock on there. I like that one and that one. Let's trade this one. Trade this one out for that one. I'm just test fitting all this to make sure I'm happy. Can you see where this, got nothing to point with, but my finger, you can see where I got a little space above that shaft? That's what you're looking for, because you want your nut to engage as much as possible. You don't want it to be short like that. So you got to fine tune your spacers till you get right where you want. So I'm going to change this one out. Change it out for what's just a little bit thicker. That's why you got to have a box of spacers. Okay. Happy with that. So we'll turn it all over. Put the smallest one on the bottom. Next smallest one. Biggest one. Our lock washer. And then our nut. Now, we'll grab the nut and go the opposite way to tighten it up. There we go. They say, I forget, 35, 40 pounds. That's about what that feels like. Now, this cutter's elevation is set right where we want it. Now, in and out, I can do it with the number that's on there, or I can take my straight edge machine tool and set it that way. This one shouldn't need any adjustment as far as, well, it will. I gotta change this number to 2.64 out here. Right now it's, yeah, right now it's set at 2.79 for this old cutter right here. 2.78. Yep. So we'll need to change the diameter on this one to this number. To get the inboard cutter set where I need it to, I'm going to change our dial indicator to the radius number we had over there, 2.464. So I'm going to pull it out. 2.46, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, they always recommend you go the other way, so I'm going to sneak back up on it this way. 2.46, 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And lock it back down. That cutter head should be taking the appropriate amount off as the wood passes by. Shouldn't need any more adjustment on that one. Now, we need to set this cutter to a known dimension in and out. I have this Holley machine setup tool that sits right there. That tool is precisely 4 inches. So I'm gonna run this cutter in until it slightly touches, and then I'll reset this gauge out here to 4 inches. So roll it in. Okay, now we got lucky on that one. The radius on this cutter is 2.835, and the radius on the cutter I took off is 2.84. So they're within 10 thousandths. If you look at my gauge here, I don't know if you can see it, it's setting dead on 4 inches. So I'm happy with this number. Now, what did I tell you we was gonna cut? We're gonna cut 8-inch boards. So since we're happy with that, I just roll it back out here till we get to 8 inches. There we go. Got our width set. Now we'll run a board and double check it. If we need to make a thousandth to adjustment in or out, we can, but we know we should be right in the ballpark. Last thing we got to do, reinstall our safety covers. Well, this goes right here. All of them pop off except this one. It has to be bolted and unbolted. It's old, don't hold it against it. The thickness is already preset for what we run yesterday. The pressure shoe's already set, and on this head here there's a chip breaker. It's already set, so all that's good to go. Only thing I need to double check is chip breaker on this, as well as a chip breaker on this, since we changed cutter heads, just to make sure we don't have any interference, and we don't. I didn't figure we would, but, and there's a knife here on the other side that'll need adjusted. Actually, go ahead. There you go. I'm gonna back it off till we run the first board, and then we'll push it in. Need to set our feed beam back down to 3/4 of an inch. See it moving down. There's a scale over here on the side of the machine to reference, as well as you have this tool you can reference off of. That's 3/4 of an inch. No, it's 1 inch, excuse me. Yeah. You can verify your numbers with it. The scale seems to be pretty accurate. Okay, got our feed beam set to 3/4. Might just come up just a little bit, because if you go too far, these steel rollers will leave marks in your top face, which will be your bottom, and if you're not taking enough off that cutter head, those marks come out in your finished board. Turn on our air valve, so we got air to all these pressure rollers. Over here, there's a lot to this, guys. I'm sorry, but this here moves your feed table. That's like a 3/16 cut right off the bottom. That's more of a 60 thousandths cut. And if you take it bare minimum, it's still going to take 20 thousandths off this bottom cutter, 20 thousandths on the out feed, and then whatever the balance is going to come off your top cutter. So if you're taking too much off the top, the only thing you can do is come out here and lower your end feed, take a little more off of the end feed side, and you'll be taking less off the top, because you're still going to end up at 3/4, whether you take a lot here or a little here. The top head's going to take the balance, and the back head is already preset to take 20 thousandths, and that's all it's going to take. So this adjustment is for your side cutter. If your boards are straight, I normally run it about 2 or 3 millimeter. It's taking a little off of this side, then it's taking the balance off the outside. But if you've got a board that's got more of a bow in it, you can run this all the way out, and it'll take more off both ends of the bow and give you a better chance of getting a straight board. I've run enough of them now to know if you put a board up there and it's got more than about 1/4, maybe 3/8, probably not even that much, 5/16 bow in it that you can see on this fence, it won't clear. You're going to have to either abandon that cut, do something different, or put it on the edger and make a smaller board out of it and then run it that way. So, got all our spacers gathered back up. Ones we didn't use, we'll put all our tools up, get the blowers turned on, we'll run our test pass. Okay, had to get you up off the floor there a little bit. I hope that helps, guys. There's a lot going on here at one time. I tell people they see my machine and say, "Oh wow, you doing that?" I say, "Yeah, I started another career." There's a lot to unpack here, guys. You're not going to get it all in one video. I promise we'll keep putting them out. Yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes here in the initial setup, that would take me hours to explain. Yeah, it takes hours to try to explain how to get to that point. We will when I don't have so much work backed up for this thing to do. Weining, I can't say enough about them. Excellent corporation. Guys, if you're looking for an industrial machine, you know, something you can run 8 hours a day, 24 hours a day, give them a call. They sell these brand new. I will recommend, if you're looking at a used machine, or if you're looking at a new machine, get the 6-head machine. This is a 5-head. It does excellent work, but that 6th head on the top would make my life a lot easier, because I could run a hog cutter just like I got here on this first head, and I could take, when I got an extra thick board, I could take 3/16 with that hog head and not worry about it, and then take 20 or 30 thousandths on that straight knife on the way out and make a better cut. That's why they made a 6-head. It gives you better options. So if you're looking at a new one, you definitely want a 6-headed machine to make your life easier. The 5 will do it. We run some poplar yesterday. Beautiful stuff. I cut it 1 1/8 because some of the stuff I'd cut at 1 inch was missing. So I chopped up to 1 1/8, and it ended up being too thick to make it in one pass and make the finish that I wanted. So Matthew and I ended up running it at 900 thousandths, and it basically S4S'd it at 900, and then turned around and it was going to be S4S. We run it again S4S at 750, 3/4 of an inch, and it was a superb finish. It got a good balance between taking off the top and the bottom. But if I'd had a 6-head machine, I could have run it in one pass. That will be our next our next improvement one day, is a 6-headed machine. I see the benefit now, but there was no videos out there telling me that, so I'm telling you up front, if you want to run one of these production mode off of sawmill lumber and you don't want to have to run double passes, you buy the 6-head machine. So, and it does allow you to run some progressive type knives, stuff I'm not interested in doing. But if you're running some real complex moldings with 2 heads, you can have a knife that takes off part of the profile, and then you have the next knife that comes behind it and finishes the profile. Because if you're taking a 2-inch board and you're putting some big contour in it, you're not going to get that in one pass. That's too much. You know, 1/4 inch per knife coming off is maximum, and it's not going to leave the finish that you want hogging that much off of it. You're going to get a lot of chip out, tear out. I try to stay in the 1/8 inch range or less, and you'll get a superb finish. So, enough said. I'm here to try to teach. I hope you're learning something. If you got any questions on this, guys, please shoot them to me. I'll ask, because when I was looking at mine, there was nobody to ask other than Weining, and they were very helpful. But they're running a corporation. They're running a business. They ain't got time to deal with some yahoo that may or may not know what he's doing. You know, but these YouTube videos, I hope to give you some information to help you. There's other brands of molders out there, these industrial ones. I personally prefer Weining, the good German corporation. They got a good American presence. Their corporate office happens to be about 2 hours away from me over in Charlotte, Morrisville, North Carolina. So, and they're good people to work with. I mean, I can pick up the phone right now, talk to their tech department, talk to their blade guys. You know, they'll answer the phone. That says a lot for being in business. So, let me get everything tooled up, and we'll try to run a board, do our last little bit of setup. We got to set the in feed gauge. We got to set our out feed gauge. There's a knife here that the board rides again. We got to get all that set, and I can't do that until I get a board started going through there. So, enough talking. Let's get to work. Okay, guys. Before I get it turned on and everything loud, let's talk about what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this dial caliper, and I'm going to verify thickness. Then I'm going to take this 12-inch dial caliper, and I'm going to verify our width. At the same time, I'm going to set this feed gauge, that cutting knife or guide, and then the last guide going out the end. And then we'll let it go all the way through, and I'll do my checks. If we need to make any adjustments, we'll make them then. So just wanted to let you know because I'm getting ready to turn everything on and you won't be able to hear me. So let's get one out and run it. Just about 1/1000th thick where I want to be on thickness, so I'm going to make a slight adjustment. Okay. I made a slight adjustment to the thickness. It's about 1/1000th thick. The groove side looks perfect. The tongue side missed. Now, I got two ways of fixing that. Either reduce the cut just a little bit. I can reduce the amount coming off the inboard side just a little bit, because that's perfect down through there. I think what I'll do is reduce this cutter down a little bit, and probably take just a little bit, move the side cutter in just a little bit, because these boards, I cut them at 8.5. They've dried down a little more than I expected, so we may be end up 7.9, 7.85 instead of 8 inches. So let me make an adjustment and we'll run another one. I took about 10 thousandths out of the width, probably about 10-15 thousandths off that side cutter, and that should basically push the board over this this way a little bit. Let's fire it up, run another one, see what we think. Get out here. Get money. It's not gonna make a true 8. Well, right to there is 8.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be.
I was measuring there, so we could probably take just a little bit more and give me a little more to take off this side. Okay, guys, I hope you got that. We're gonna make a couple adjustments. We need to go. Don't do that one. That was good enough to use, but we'll run another, and we need to sacrifice one. Turn around. So, found out I was measuring in the wrong place, so I actually got about an 1/8 inch more to work with than I thought I had. So we'll make another adjustment and we're gonna run again. And Matthew's gonna cut a piece off the end of it so we can verify our tongue and groove are at the right elevation. Weining does an excellent job with their knives, so I expect it to be spot on, but we're gonna verify. Here you go, guys. Get out here and look at this. Isn't that nice? How they might be able to hear you? It's too loud up here without it. Sorry about that. Matthew turned the blower off so you could hear me. Now, that I'm happy with. That's what I was pointing out earlier about setting that spindle height with a 10mm spacer. That is perfect. Now,
Perfect both directions.
Yep. We got two-sided nickel gaps, so you can use either side of the board.
That side's actually just a hair low, but
Yeah. Now we made an adjustment to the width, so I want to double check it. Measuring from the right side. Yeah, 7.95, Matthew. And with a tape measure,
959. Yeah.
we could actually go just a little bit more, give me some more room, because I'd like to be able to take a little more here. Yeah. that you're gonna measure, that's the exposure. I mean, we're right there. I think I'm gonna take a hair more, and then I'm gonna put it on the groove side. Okay, guys. There's a lot of moving parts to this. A lot of adjustments got to be made to give and take. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take about another 50 thousandths out of the width, because I got it to play with, and I'm gonna, instead of giving it to the tongue side, I'm actually gonna take a little more off the groove side, and that'll allow me to be able to move that fixed fence in and out if I have a board with a little bow in it. So the goal is to get 95% of these to make a perfect board. But if we're just barely clearing, then you're gonna have more bad ones than you think, than you want. That's exactly what I expect out of a winding motor, about 2 or 3 boards, and you're ready to run. And that first board we run, it's good enough to use, but it don't have a tongue, so it'd have to be a starter or, you know, a starter board. The second board we run is good enough to use. There's 50 thousandths difference between it and this. You'll never see it. We're gonna run a third one, verify what the adjustments we made, and we're just gonna go through them. Got a bunch of them to do, guys, so let's get over here and get to it. Okay, guys, we got it set up. We're happy with it. We're getting about 95% of them two-sided clear. We made a slight adjustment on how much was taken off the front cutter. Actually reduced that amount, take a little more off the top. A lot of it depends on your sawing. If you get thicks and thins, you're gonna fight it. I'm just telling you, it'll make you saw better. The more consistent you are when you saw it, the less tinkering you have to do with this machine. Sometimes it's just bad wood. You cut stuff that bows, you're going to fight it tooth and nail. So we're not going to bore you with watching all this. We'll do a time lapse. Probably set you out here and see how much sawdust this thing is spitting out. It's impressive. So that's going to do it. We'll move on and get to running some boards. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. It probably went quicker for you than it did Matthew and I. That's a lot of boards. It was 75 10-footers and 55 12-footers. Plus we did 150 more before that. So this half of the job's done. It's late today. We're gonna call it quits. We got 4 more bundles to do tomorrow, and this order will be ready to get out of here. But this is some beautiful stuff. That darn white pine, it's gorgeous. Couldn't ask for it to turn out no better. Easy to mill, takes the knives real good, very little chip out, tear out. I'm pleased. Can't say any more than that. I'm pleased, guys. So we're gonna leave it there today. We'll pick back up in the morning. Gonna run these through, and you can see we'll show you the pile of wood lumber we get when we get done. It's gonna be a bunch of it. So be right back, guys. Hey guys, welcome back this morning. Another beautiful November day. We got what is that? About 600. We got about 1,804 feet of white pine we're gonna run. That equals to about 3 full bundles. This stuff's running great. No complaints. Of course, white pine is about the easiest thing you're ever gonna run. Very soft, and the trees we sawed this out of were gorgeous trees. Big stuff. If you go back and watch that video, maybe Matthew will link it in this series. But we've had a video on sawing and drying, and now here's the last process, and we're glad to be done with it. I actually spoke to the customer last night, told him we was hoping to finish up today, and they were just overjoyed. Don't know when they're gonna get to put it up. He said they were just about done framing the bathrooms that these were going into. So hopefully I can get him to send me some pictures before this gets aired. May not, it just depends on them. So that's gonna do it. We'll get everything fired up. We're gonna run through these. It's day before Thanksgiving for us, so we got a lot of stuff going on. And we need to get these run, get the kiln swapped out, and that'll probably be it for this week. So thanks guys, and let's get to it. Okay guys, we are done, finally. One last thing to do is we had to move it over here where I normally park my truck. We had it all stacked in here prior to running it through the molder. But now we got 1, 2, 3, there's 4 bundles here. And if you look over here in the other building, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 more bundles plus some poplar S4S we done. That's the other unintended consequence of this kind of work. Comes along with kiln drying. Once it's dry, I got to keep it dry till the customer come pick it up. So taking up space, just another thing you got to add to your list of needs around your sawmill. We need some more dry storage. We're running out quickly, but good problem to have. Hope you enjoyed this video. There's a lot of time lapse. I'm sorry. I know at the beginning we kind of went into great detail about setting up, getting ready to run it, and then it's just run. We messed around between doing lots of other things. Spent what, 8 hours on this probably, Matthew? 7, 8 hours altogether. Yeah. If we could have set it up, run it start to finish, Probably if we had an extra person to keep, supplying lumber, we're going to have to stop and move stuff when it's full. We could probably run it in 4 hours, but I don't know if I could keep up with it that long. Got to take a break occasionally. We ended up just short of 4,000 board feet or square feet of wall coverage. That's, the board itself is a little wider than 8 inches if you count the tongue, but the exposed face is 8 inch, and they needed a little over 3,800 square feet. So I got enough to cover that. I'm tickled to death. Guys, if you got any questions about running one of these Weining motor planers, drop it in the comment section. I'll do my best to try to answer it. There's a lot there, I know. More than we can cover in one video. We spent 2 days in training and put so much in our brain that it was just too much to keep. So I'm trying to get it out to you a little bit at a time. But like I say, if you got a specific question, be glad to go ahead and ask it. I'll do my best to answer it. That's going to do it for today. As always, we appreciate Solomon at Third Beard Fishing. Good. If you would, take the opportunity to check out his channel. He's had a little health scare here lately, but he's doing much better. We're thankful for that. He's producing videos again. But him and Matthew do all our videos. They come out every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. That's going to do it. We appreciate you watching, guys. Hope you have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas. It'll be after Thanksgiving before you see this, but that's going to do it. We'll see you back at the mill.
Thank you for watching. Here's a video selection and a playlist suggestion. Click here to subscribe for more great content. We'll see you at the mill.